Guys, I'll let you fire away whenever you're ready.
Just got an intro, just hosting an event. What's that mean for you guys?
Oh, it's exciting. It's good. It's something that we wanted to do. The timing hasn't matched up right. The schedule hasn't permitted us to do it because, like I always say, there's 300 schools to play college golf. Yet we play 10 times 10 events a year. So not everybody hosts events, and you got to fit it in the schedule. And the Robert Kepler has been an event in our district, in our region here, that's been going on for many, many, many years, and we always go to that. No reason to change this week, but they changed their format. That didn't make it conducive to a lot of ways certain coaches schedule, and so they're requiring more days of competition. So we decided, well, then we'll just fit our own in here until the Kepler changes. If they go back to 2 days, then obviously we'll stick with tradition and go for like we've been going for 50 years. But it presented itself, and we said, why not? Let's just host one here. And we had five other Big Ten schools follow us, and I think in the future, if they stay doing what they're doing, I think more will come to play. But we got a great golf course we're excited about. Got a good team. We got great fans that follow golf. For not playing here, the support in town's always been great. Even in the state and the region has been great. So what a perfect time to put something together.
Talk about the course a little bit. Do you have it where you want it? I'm sure it's a work in progress.
Yeah, Steve, in April it's kind of hard to get a course to where you really want it. But Nate does a great job out there. We've played there 3 or 4 times in the last couple of weeks, and it's really good for April. But I think if you asked any superintendent, they'd rather host an event that's important to them, or they want to showcase it. You wouldn't host it in April in Central Illinois. But he's done a great job. The staff out there is great. The playing areas, the tees, the fairways, the greens, the bunkers are all perfect. I think if you get off the sides, it's a little rough just because it's springtime. Grass isn't really growing yet, and it's just not filling in. But I think it's great, and we're gonna go play it and play hard, and I think it's going to be a good representation of what we're doing out there. I think other teams and coaches will see it. I think they'll be impressed, and I'm thrilled with it. I think it's great.
What do you tell your guys about playing in front of spectators that will largely be supportive, but still, it's not always there?
Yeah, that's kind of rare because you don't have the home matches. But when we played the national finals that made the Final Four up in Chicago, at that time I think that was the largest crowd they've ever seen for a college NCAA finals, and that was all orange. That was really cool. So the guys got to feel that. But again, we haven't. When we played Olympia Fields in the fall, fans come out, but not at the level I don't think they'll come out this week, weather permitting, of course. But you tell them just to keep playing their game. And last week we played at Missouri, and there was definitely a home fan support there, and I think our fans will still clap for other teams when they hit good shots. I want them to, But sometimes you go to these places, and if there's a really competitive crowd and they don't understand it, they'll cheer for their home players' shots and they'll kind of jeer and be silent on the opposing team's shots.
You've had this core together now, it seems like, for a few years. Have they played this consistently that you've just seen the time that they've all been together?
No, we're playing well. They're playing consistent golf. We always preach that. Consistency is what good golf teams do, and any coach in any sport wants to know what he's getting every day. Ask any coach, you want to know what you're getting, and this team has shown that they bring it mentally and emotionally and physically a lot of the time. We still have issues that I see, but if you look at our results this year, it's been as consistent as anybody in the country, and I'm excited about that. But you're right, the age, when you have 3 seniors on the team, 3 fifth-year seniors, that's something I've never had that. We've always had success, but we've always been dispersed through our ages pretty well. But COVID kind of messed that up a little bit. So we're older this year. So maybe it's a plus. Maybe it's a positive thing for us. But you bring those 3 older guys, and we got some youth still on the team that's learning and getting better. I think that could be an asset for us.
So you have high expectations for this crew. So going into postseason play, what do you like to see out of a team to give you that confidence in them?
Well, I want to see them continue to grow and get better every day and not just be static and happy where they're at. I want them to understand, and I think they do, understand the moment and understand what's happening with the media like today, or the media at the national championship, or they still need to take care of their business and they still need to show up and play. I think an older team can do that pretty well, and I think I've seen that. And we're a pretty realistic program, realism, and when we're playing good, they know it. When we're struggling, they know it. And I think the good ones maybe know that before I can tell them. And I think that's what we need. Good players in golf the guys on tour hit bad shots like everybody else, and they have the capacity to do that, but they understand their body and their emotions before those bad shots happen, and they actually adjust before the bad shot happens. And I think if you're an older player, you're more in tune with your emotions and your heart rate and your concentration and your self-image and your golf swing and the conditions outside. You know they're changing, and then you adapt with them. Where a younger team may be a product of all those around them. Does that make sense? So I think the older team, when we get to the postseason, and even in the younger team, I want them to have more of that knowledge of themselves when we get into it. That's my job, and I think that's what a coach does. Because when they get out there, I can't substitute. I can't pull them out for a couple holes and call them down. They have to do all that on their own. So you try to teach them stuff that in the process throughout the years they're here, and then the tournaments, that when they get in this situation, they can do that, and hopefully this team can do that.
You're going to play it at 7,500 yards. You're going to wait and see what the weather does.
I looked at the weather. It's going to blow 25 miles an hour, so I don't think we're going to play at 7,500. Some of the holes downwind or crosswind will stretch out, but the ones in the wind, we're not going to do that. We can't. I mean, it's just too long. But it's something that we want to see that course play. We want to see that course. I want to make it tough. The rough isn't up because it's April, so we're not going to get that effect. But the greens are firm enough. We can do whatever we want with the pins, but the conditions dictate. That golf course, the way it was designed back 25 years ago, was designed to play in wind. That's why the fairways are so wide, and so they understood the climate here in the spring, and they got to make it enjoyable for players to play. But we brought the fairways in where we wanted to require a little more competency when they play. But this week you'll see how it affects. So we're going to have to move the tees up a little bit, maybe make it a little bit easier with some pins because of the wind.
Does this course have any similarities to what you'll see next week at the Big Tens, or when the Big Tens come around out in New Jersey?
That's a good question, and no. We're going out and we're playing right on the water, right across from Atlantic City. It's a tight golf course, pitched, elevated greens. They're tabletop greens. It's very wooded. It's a different kind of golf. Now we've been there. I've been there. The team hasn't. But again, hopefully our team has grown and learned about themselves in the game, how to take solid golf, which you're supposed to play, and it can work wherever you go. So it's not really a good prep for next week, although playing in front of your family and friends where there's a little bit more of a nervousness, a little more you're drawn outside your comfort zone maybe, or you're drawn outside yourself when you're playing in front of people you really want to impress. So the best way to impress people like that is to not try to and just play your game. So maybe that's good practice for next week, because next week we'll have some pressure going in trying to win 8 in a row and expectations that have built over this program over years. Maybe we'll learn how to continue or contain our focus this week in a different realm that will help us, but the golf course is nothing like the same.
Mike, how would you explain Tommy's progression during his career? It just seems like it's steady, and so he's one of the best golfers in the country.
That's the way I like to see it because it's substantive, it's real. If you build piece by piece, but he's gotten better. He's gotten his improvement curve has gotten steeper the last year and a half, 2 years. I think he's learned how to think more to himself and how he operates and how he learns and digests things. The interest and desire to get better has always been there. He works hard. He wants to be a professional golfer. He wants to see how good he can be. That's always been there. But how he's processed information and how he's stepped back from a problem, and looked at it and tried to figure it out instead of just being a bull in a china closet trying to it's just got to work. I kid with him. If he was the 4-year-old in preschool, he'd be pounding on that square peg in that round hole for 4 hours, can't figure out why it wouldn't go in there, and throwing a tantrum instead of just stopping, taking a different peg and putting it in there. And that's kind of what he's done. He's learned how to play golf that way, and things are slowing up a little bit. They still need to slow up, but physically he's got all the tools. He's just learning how to emotionally and mentally play better.
Obviously, you have a guy like Adrian comes in as top golfer right away. Is there an extra pride when you see a guy like Tommy do what he's done, the way he's grown?
Yeah, but when I recruit these kids, I say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And when I recruit kids, I recruit them not because they're great junior players. I recruit them because I think they can be really good college players. So you're trying to predict the future. If a coach just recruited all the great players and expected them to stay there, that doesn't. And golf, it ebbs and flows. You get worse in this game a lot of times. It's just the nature of the game. It just it pulls on so many different variables to play, and if they're not all clicking, you can lose your confidence very easily. And so Adrian's coming very mature, very cerebral, almost too cerebral at times. I mean, he's always thinking ways to get better, and sometimes that gets in his way. But for his growth, he's gotten a lot better too. Even though as a Big Ten, when he won the Big Ten as a freshman, he came from behind and was very talented. But now he's in contention all the time. As a freshman, he was up and down. I think his first college event was Olympia Fields. I don't think he broke 80. Maybe he just got off the airplane. But I mean, he didn't play well, so he's become more consistent, which is a different way of improving. But everybody's got their different deals, and that's what makes coaching college golf unique. Is that everybody's different. They all swing differently. They think differently. They've learned differently, and their growth is different. And as long as they're moving the right way and enjoying college and getting their degree, I'm happy. And then the wins, this team wins like we're having now, this is the bonus. I mean, this is a product of all that. You're not going to win as a team if players aren't getting better and winning. So this is a byproduct of that, and that's what makes me happy.
What do you try to do during events? How do you help your team?
Me?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I've talked a lot about that when I speak. A college golf coach, the best thing he does is creates a culture, an environment for success and improvement, and an accountable environment, but very positive. And then, see, I can't change plays out there. I can't prepare for a different team. You just work with in your own realm. So a lot of my work is done at home, and we work hard here, and then we go to events. We kind of relax, enjoy it, have fun, but compete our tails off. So during the round, I'm not a coach that'll walk with one player and ignore the other four. Some coaches walk with one player and caddy for him more or less, not carry his bag, but help him out, trying to help one guy. I manage emotions. I'm bebopping around. I'm on certain holes that may require a decision to be made, like a par 5, you lay up or go for it or something like that. I might find 3 or 4 holes to do that to see guys. But I generally just watch, and I watch their body, their mannerisms, their emotional levels, and I know where they all play their best, and their job is to know where they play their best. Sometimes you get too high, sometimes you get too low, upset or sad or mad or whatever, and my job is to go find them if they're having trouble and get them back into that realm, and either through laughter or through seriousness or through, anger or whatever. I got to jumpstart them somehow. It's my way of calling timeout. If I was a football or basketball coach, that'd be my timeout. And then when my timeout's done, I let them play. Excuse me. If I was a basketball coach, I'd probably be on the bench more than up running around telling them to rebound, because they should know how to rebound. I should have taken care of that in practice. And in a timeout, you tell them what they need to do, and if you have good leadership and you've trained that, then they should go out and do it. So I manage. So if they're playing well and we're rolling, like last week in Missouri, didn't say a word. I just watched, took notes. I take notes all day long so we can coach after the round, but no, I don't get in the grill, because as a player, I wouldn't want somebody telling me what to do that I already know what I need to do. Does that make sense? So don't overcoach me, but if I need help and they trust me enough to where if I'm there, they should know I need them. But I'm not there to complicate things. I'm not there to make things worse. I'm there to help them get through the day if they need me. If they don't need me, then they've done it. They deserve all the credit, not me.